You're listening to the Smoke Meat Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pittman. Smoke Meat is brought to you by Joe's Underground in Augusta, Georgia, at the corner of 8th and Broad in the bottom of the Lamar building. Great place to go. Makes you feel like family every time you're in there, even if it's the first time. Jeremy and the gang down there always do such a great job. It's like kind of going home a little bit. Great food, great drinks, great people. Remember, I goes to Joe's and so should you. Today on Smoke Meat, I got a chance to sit down with a great comedian. I've been in the game for about 12 years. He's a host of a talk show called Time Out with Tim O. A young man named Tim Owens, very funny guy. So we're going to get this thing cranked up here on Smoke Meat. Hey, how's it going today, Tim?
I'm doing pretty good, Brian. How you doing, buddy?
Man, if I was any better, I'd be twins.
I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
So what's been going on lately?
Man, I tell you what, man, just dealing with the COVID-19 situation. Looking forward to getting out doing some stand-up. Just been doing my talk show for now, but just want to get out in front of the crowds again, man.
Oh, man, I know there's a lot of folks pumped about that. Looking on Facebook, I've seen a couple of folks that's had shows in different places. As much as I want to get on stage, I ain't sure I'm ready to get up there right now with all that.
Oh, yeah, you gotta have the guards across the crowd, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one good thing about this, with my comedy style and skill level, this thing about having 10 people or less, I've almost sold out one or two shows.
Hey, you know what, Brett? That's the funny part, man. Because comedy, sometimes that's how it is. Especially when you start out, you have those nights.
Oh yeah.
Open nights, open mic nights. Sometimes, yeah, that's what you get, man. The bartender and the two hostesses, and that's pretty much your crowd.
And those are some tough shows. Oh man, I'd rather be in front of 1,000 people than two, because you got to bring the funny with a small crowd.
Yeah, man. Especially if you're a comic that feed off the energy of the crowd.
Oh yeah.
I was one of those guys, man. I feed off the energy of the crowd.
That's me. I don't see how, God bless the ones that are doing it, the ones that are just getting up and filming their stand-up in the basement or wherever right now. I can't do it. I got to have that crowd.
Yeah. I guess some stuff, if it's funny enough, I guess you can get a few chuckles off of it. But yeah, it's nothing like that crowd energy. But it's some comics that need to stop anyway. Like, I watched the episode of SNL online last week, and tell you what, man, he talked about some torture.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's bad to watch it on TV, and see it online now is even worse.
Oh yeah. I've been doing comedy almost 30 years now. Just here and there. I've never hit nearly as hard as I have in the last year, and I tell you, it's changed so much. What bothers me is these young guys just starting out are all about shocking people. And that just. If that's your thing, fine. But come on, man. We already got Howard Stern that did it, and I mean it's done.
Yeah, agree. And it's not comedy, man. Like, to me, I'm a fan of old school comedy. Like, I like the old Dean Martin roast and the whole the tongue in cheek stuff, where you can have a joke that's masking something. The parents can get it, but the kids will miss it.
Yeah.
I like that kind of clever humor. That's, to me, that's real comedy. That's stuff I grew up on, man.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think to write it. I mean, not saying I haven't done it. I mean, everybody has just about. I mean, that is what it is. But it just drives me insane, because that's where everybody's just wanting to start out at right now. And it may get laughed for a minute, and then people will figure out, okay, he's fixing to tell another joke about his crotch or whatever, or okay, I got to go. There's too much out there right now.
I've been talking to a couple buddies about some comics from back home. Me coming from Illinois originally and being down here in Georgia. And it's been different, man. You remember back a few months ago, I tried to organize before the coronavirus hit to try to do some shows out here, but I couldn't get people to really network like I was able to back home. Remember you and I tried to hook something up, and it just didn't. I don't know. The comedy scene is a little different here, man. What do you think?
Yeah, it's weird to me. You've probably seen some of my videos and everything. You know how Atlanta is right now. It's more urban comedy. I can dig it. I like urban comedy. It's just not my stage style, so I don't fit in a lot of places. and
Okay.
that kind of drives me insane some. But I mean, it is what it is. I've been in all kind of rooms, and I've been in straight bars, gay bars, black clubs, white
Mm-hmm.
clubs, you name it. I've been in them, and I've had a ball. Never let any of that
Okay.
bother me.
Now,
But
yeah, I agree. Yeah, Brad. Like now, I understand the comedy rooms now. You could have left off the places you like to party now.
well played, sir. Well played.
but what's funny is that by me being a black comedian, I would get a lot of heat from people because I don't do a lot of material that people think that I should do, and
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy because my audience have always been mixed audiences because the way I grew up. Uh, when I was a small kid, I grew up in an area that was mostly black area, like 85%. But when I got a little bit older, in my teens, we kind of moved to an area where it was more of a mixed population and like so on. So I had friends from everywhere.
Yeah.
So you kind of learn what's funny in every culture. And so a lot of people, when I started producing comedy shows, I would have guys from Serbia, Jewish comedians, and my shows would be diverse and mixed.
Mm-hmm.
So some people didn't really get that because they didn't expect me to do. Because like I give you an example of a joke of mine that some people would it really wouldn't fit, and you would say in a typical, let's say, an urban comedy club. I
Mm-hmm.
used to do a bit about my older brother. I used to say, I think I invited a birthday clown to my brother's son's party, and my brother threw a fit, started screaming, got mad at me, and asked me why did I bring a clown there. And I said, oh, what's the problem with clowns, man? He's like, I don't want to talk about it. Just don't bring another one. And I got to thinking back. He was about 12. We had a birthday party, and the clown came in. I don't know if the clown name was Touches the Clown, so maybe something happened I didn't know about.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah. Some people, some people wouldn't get that. Oh man, that's not a normal joke. Most people would tell in the urban club, but that's kind of my deal, man. I find humor in everything, and I think is universal, man, for real.
Exactly. I mean, you can find the funny in any situation, just about.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
you can. Now this situation is a little tough with the what's going on now, but this is I don't know if you call this a joke. It was kind of a statement that I was kind of imagining something, and I was telling a buddy of mine, and I say I'm a person of faith, and I'm not shy about that. I always talk about that openly.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of joking around and saying that what's going on now, we know what you believe, and up here or down there, we say hey it's express train going both ways
Yeah.
in this in this situation because you know everybody who leaves, some people's good, some people's not. So you got to be across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, find it offensive, but I thought it was pretty funny. But your man told me that well, express train going both ways. It's busy on both ends of the spectrum.
Man,
I'm like, okay.
they done took the train out and put one of them little vacuum things like the bank has. Man, oh man,
Absolutely,
because when
man.
this stuff gets a hold of you, if you can survive it, Lord bless you, you've done good. But if you can't, it's whoop,
Hmm.
and you gone.
Absolutely, man.
Yep.
So, Brad, your accent, man, it sounds like you down from Georgia here, but it sounds like you got some Louisiana, man.
No, I've been in Georgia most of my life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's me. I got a friend of mine. I just interviewed Sean Kanan. He was Mike Barnes in the Karate Kid 3, and he's been on The Bold and the Beautiful, some different things. And we were
Mhm.
talking about languages. He speaks a couple of different languages. I said, man, if you come to Georgia, I'll teach you how to speak redneck. And he is so excited about that.
I got you. I got you.
But
I'm
yeah.
not. I'm not sure if I can pull that one off though, buddy. I'm not sure about that.
Oh man, I've got 10 million different voices that I do, and accents. I'm fairly okay with some accents, but the bad part is 90% of them still have that little Georgia twang in them.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But now I do like to eat Cajun food. Does that count?
What was that?
I do like to eat Cajun food. Does that count?
Oh yeah. I think so. I would think so. I've never been in New Orleans. My dad used to go out there all the time. He went to college with remember the blues singer Fats Domino. My
Yeah.
dad went to college. My dad went to college with his son, and
Oh,
my mom would
nice.
go down there every year. They used to stay with him out there. Yeah.
Oh, that's just cool as the other side of my pillow right there.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was kind of because to us, it was we was coming up as kids. It really wasn't that big of a deal to us. But when we got older later on, we was like, oh, wait a minute, you know. And I tell you another cool thing about my folks. My older brother and sister, my parents went to see. They were some friends of theirs, and they went to see Muhammad Ali when he was in the hospital after a fight.
Oh
We
man,
got an autographed picture of my brother and sister. Yeah, absolutely. And I now that one there, I have that picture.
that is cool right there now. And Muhammad Ali was awesome.
He was.
And he had style, he had flair, and he could back up everything he said. Everything.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't want to get hit
Absolutely.
by him. No.
No, 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 no. Uh-uh.
No.
uh-uh.
But
Nope.
I tell you, we was talking about the comedy right now, and how it was hard to put a show together. I remember
Uh-huh.
that. I was pumped about it. You told me how much time I got. Man, hey, I can work with that, and I'm good. Whatever we need to do, and like I say, just it wouldn't come
Mm-hmm.
together because of everything that happened with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. A lot of comedians, and I may shoot myself in the foot with a lot of people. I don't know. I've never really made this a secret. It gets on my nerves that a lot
Mm-hmm.
of comedians won't help other comics. Everybody sees
Yeah,
it as just a
arena.
big competition. It's not. Your funny is maybe different than my funny, but either way, our goal make people laugh.
Oh, that's true, man. You know the crazy part about it was I used to work with. I had a few good guys that we were really close. My friend named these guys in back in Illinois, Tony Talley, my
Hmm.
friend Jimmy Chong. Those guys were great, man. I got another friend named King Gar. He's out in uh, California right now. He's in he performs at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club out there. He hosts some open mics and stuff like that, some showcases.
Hmm.
And these guys were awesome, man. We always we liked we enjoyed each other's comedy. We were fans of each other. So whenever we did a show, we would laugh and crack up at each other just as good as the crowd, and it created great energy for the room, man. It was fantastic, and it's hard to find guys that don't have that competition and that jealousy about them, because especially young guys that come in, early 20s, and they have a little following of friends. It could be friends or family, or they run with entourage, and they'll come, man. They'll be disrespectful, and
Hmm.
they'll only laugh, they only pay attention when their buddies on stage, and they'll be disruptive to the audience, and they'll get real big headed really fast.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll just ruin the whole scene. Um, a guy I know, a guy named Dave Odd. When I tell you, Brad, one of the funniest comedians that quit. This guy was hilarious, man. This guy, we used to do shows from time to time. He used to own a comedy club in Chicago called the Edge Comedy Club.
Hmm.
And this guy, man, when I tell you, I've never seen a comic come out. I've seen Dave come out and bomb, right? Start out bombing, and have dug his way out of bombing in the same set and then kill. I've seen this guy do this, man. At
Nice.
least about three different times, man. He was, yeah, he was a master, man. But what happened to him was he used to his comedy club was pretty huge, and he would have a lot of newcomers come in. He used to do comedy classes and stuff.
Hmm.
He would get a whole bunch of these young hotshots would come in, and he'll try to help them and guide them, and then they'll get big headed real fast. Oh, this is easy. Anybody can do this, and you have nothing. Blah blah blah. And then they'll go out. They'll start producing bad shows. Then they'll start ruining the area with shows. Then once they finally bomb and their friends quit coming, like the 20, 30 friends that will support them, and they get in front of a real audience who doesn't know them, who doesn't have anything invested in them, and then they'll bomb, and then they'll be like, oh, this place sucks and this and that. So he got tired of it. Like year after year after year, he had that club for about 12 years, and he got sick of it. He just quit himself. And I would try to talk him back into it to come back out and do it, but it just broke him. The business broke him, and the bad young comics broke him.
Yeah,
Yeah, sucked, man.
everybody wants to go from the sidewalk to headliner overnight, and
Uh-huh.
it ain't gonna happen. It may happen. There's one or two small stories out there that, boom, they were discovered and boom, they're famous, and that's
Mm-hmm.
great for those people. But a lot of people, you know, ain't gonna be famous in this. You gotta love comedy. You gotta love making people laugh, and your ego just can't be there. I don't have one.
Yeah.
I'll play anywhere. I don't care if I can make somebody laugh. I'm good. You've seen some of my videos
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube. Looking at them videos, you can tell Daddy don't have an ego. Some of these characters I dressed up as, nope, no ego, but it's fun because people laugh.
Yeah,
And
agreed, man.
you get some of these young comics that are up and coming, just getting into it that need some help and ask for advice and some help, and a lot of people won't, and that bugs me. I try and help anybody I can because
Mm-hmm.
I done learned stuff the hard way.
Yeah. You gotta respect comedy. You gotta respect it. You gotta respect it for what it is. You can't treat it as if it's one of the best lessons I got was I performed at a Zany's comedy club in Chicago, and the owner of the manager of the club, boy, I tell you what, he was as hard as nails. You hear me? He had us come an hour before the show. He took us to the back room. Now, a friend of mine, he was a mentor to me in comedy. He got Tony Talley. He was an old veteran comic, had been around a long time. Been doing comedy since the late '80s, early '90s. Okay, so he kind of took me on his wing. He told me for 2 years, hey, you need to go do Zanies. You need to go get the talk. He's called it the talk. I didn't know what he was talking about. Then I finally signed up for the Rising Star Showcase on Monday nights in Zanies in Chicago. So I go up there and I finally got the talk that Tony's telling me about. This is with the manager. Tell you what, this guy was tough as nails, boy. He told us in the back. He had us in the back room and said, "Listen, this guy showed up. We supposed to be there at 7 o'clock. Okay, showtime's at 8. We were sitting there. It was about 12 of us. It was actually one of the news anchors from one of the Chicago news channels. He was there doing stand up. Like the sports comedy guy, whatever. So we're sitting there. This guy comes upstairs. The guy was like, "Hey, my name's Bert." He's finna go into his spiel. This guy walks upstairs. It's like 7:02. The guy stops and says, "Excuse me, what are you doing here?" The guy says, "I'm supposed to be here at 7 o'clock for the Rising Star Showcase." This guy says, "What time is it now?" He said, "It's 7 o'clock." He looked at his watch and said, "No, it's 7:02. I need you to leave my club right now, or I will have security take you out of here. And you will never perform in this club or any club I'm affiliated with in this entire city." He did this right in front of us. And the guy was like, "Are you serious?" He said, "Yeah, I'm dead serious. It's 7:02. It's not 7 o'clock." And the guy, "Oh, man," and he walked out. And he comes up and said, "Okay, listen, people. That's what I'm talking about. That will not be tolerated in comedy. And, need to be on time. Part of the business. This isn't glorified high school." He went on and just berated us and was like, "This is not a game." And he said, "More than half of you in this room would not be doing this within the next 60 days. And he went on like this for about 35 minutes of how take it serious. If you give me a CD tonight, DVD, I'm throwing it in the garbage. Be specific. I don't want you to compliment me on my club. I don't want you to compliment me on my tie." He just was awful. But this is what I took from that. When we came downstairs, we had to perform after that. I had we got some comp tickets. I got about 5 comp tickets. I had 3 of my friends downstairs. When I came downstairs, they was like, "What happened to you, man? You look like you just been traumatized." And I said, "I have." I said, "He took all the wind out of it." Now I was excited. But he taught us to not only take the business serious, have some respect for it, have some respect for the clubs, and don't just view this as, basically this is glorified high school. And I got up there, I killed it, man. You had 5 minutes. 5 minutes set. He said, "If you go over your time, you would never perform here again." And he told us how to get out there, hit your punch lines, hit your mark. When you get the light, get off the stage. And boom, everybody was on it, man. It was great, one of the best. And when I told my friend Tony, he said, "See, that's why I told you to go up there, because I wanted you. I saw you were a good comic. I want you to get that talk so you can really understand how this business is run and how you're supposed to handle yourself as a professional and have respect for the comedy art form." So it was great. It helped me tremendously in my career.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, that's one thing that you got to respect it, because while some people make it look really, really easy, you're seeing them for that 5 minutes on stage or that hour or however long they're up there. You're not watching them when they're sitting there writing this, when they're rehearsing it, when they're trying to put this joke together and, okay, is this word better? You're not seeing all that. And these people need to, other comics and audience, everybody needs to respect that, because it's not easy. I can get up and ad lib to a point, but I don't lean on it because I can't. God bless the people that can. They are my heroes, but
Hmm.
but that's
Yeah,
it's tough. And when
it
you
is.
get another comic that I did a show last year where I was one of four people before the headliners, and I think I had 8 minutes. I got up and went 7:50 because I'm very time conscious. The other comics went so far over each of them did that the headliner had like 10 minutes to do. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah, not a good thing. That was not respect.
Not at all. Yeah, that one there you can't do that.
And the headliner's the one that put him in the show. It was his show to begin with.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, you
I don't
can't.
understand that. You gotta. Somebody gives me a chance. If you called me tomorrow and said, "Hey man, I got a show coming up next month. I want you in it. Here's what we got. Here's what I need from you." Guess what I'm gonna do? What you just told me to do. Because you're giving me a shot. People don't understand
Absolutely.
that.
But you know what I think that comes from? You know what I think that comes from, Brad? I think that
Mm.
comes from people who it's not about the comedy. It's about attention seeking.
Yeah.
Like when I used to produce shows, I used to have comics that would come in, and matter of fact, I wouldn't even call them comics. They were guys that wanted to do comedy or wanted to become a comedian. Just because you do one show doesn't make you a comedian.
Yeah.
Just because you did one open mic, and I would tell guys. I had a guy I used to argue with. He was a promoter. He became a promoter, and he used to really mess up shows and really mess up a lot of young wannabe comedians because he would put them on a flyer, big picture and big name. And I said, listen, that guy doesn't even need to be on the flyer. He would say, it doesn't matter. I said, yes, it does. When you go to any show, you see on the marquee, it'll be the opening act is usually not even on there. They just have the headliner.
Yeah.
You have to earn that spot to be the big guy on the flyer or the big guy on the promotion or the guy who goes in and does the radio promotion. Don't just do it to anybody. This guy didn't listen. So what he used to do was he would get people who were want to be in the comedy, who had a large following, big social media following, or whatever, and he'll tell them, "Hey, you can do stand up. You can be a comedian. Let me help you write something." And they'll do some shot crap that was awful and some racial humor that was sucked and offensive to everybody. And that's what they would go on, and they would just ruin shows.
Yeah.
Just be awful. And I would say, why would you do that? And the guy wouldn't listen, man. I said, you know what? Just forget it. I didn't even deal with people like that. But what I used to encounter personally was guys that would want to be on the show of mine because I produced shows out there for about 3.5 years. And I would tell guys, you're not going to come on my show and get up here with a funny cowboy hat on and some glasses and dance around and not have any material.
Yeah.
Because this is my show. My name is the one that's on it, and I'm the one who get all the reviews, and I'm the one who pays for the advertising. You're not going to get up here and dance around and try to get attention, and you don't even work on the comedy. A lot of people have that. They get so in love with the thrill of being on stage. Hey, mom, look at me, to where they just ruin the show.
Yeah.
Like, it's awful, man, and that's why it's so hard to put shows together because avoiding those people, finding people that don't have egos, that don't, you get up and like me, you do a show together, Brad, you get up and kill, I'm happy.
Yeah.
If you kill you before me, I'm happy because I know that when I come on stage, you've already got them warmed up.
Exactly.
It's time to have some fun, man.
Exactly. You know what? A show I thought about putting on, and I think it would be neat. It would take a lot of vetting of the comics, but I think it would be a good thing. Is you get some comics who, they're really good open micers, and you think they're ready to go to the next level a little bit, but they can't get that chance. I'd like to find 5 or 6 of them and give them about 15 minutes, and just see what they could do. I think that would be an amazing show. I think some of them may regret going on there, but other ones, man, you make diamonds out of pressure, baby. So
Yeah.
I think that would be a really neat show.
Absolutely. But that's a lot of the guys I used to work with. I used to work with guys back home that were, when I used to do different clubs or I would go to, like, once you're in the comedy, we can do on the podcast, we can talk about the kind of a little bit of the insides of comedy. You know how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
Once you start doing comedy shows, open mics, you kind of get in the circle. Then you find out, hey, we got a room over here, we have a room over there. Then you meet other comics, and you guys can network and do shows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I would work with a lot of guys that were coming up, but also when I first started, I'm pretty sure when you did, you have to be willing to listen. So you'll have a guy with a great bit, but it could be polished up a little bit. Like, hey, it'd be funny if you switch this word to that word. It has to be about the audience, man. It has to be about, putting on a great show for the audience, especially if we're going to do a show together. We need to be able to get together and say, hey, let's tweak our material a little bit. You know what I mean? If there's something that can be tweaked, it can be made funnier. Because we're trying, the ultimate goal is to hit a home run for the crowd.
Exactly. That's one thing that I'm really good at is doing punch ups for people. Just because I can hear something and I can just, like I said, I've got that skill where I can say, okay, that's good, but it may play a little bit better if you do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it on stage a few times, and it's such a good feeling to know you helped that person. That was a good joke to begin with, but the little bit that you added in there, just send it over. And when I write, I love getting together with 4 or 5 people and just sitting around the table, eating something and writing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And where I may come up with something that won't really work for me on stage will be perfect for you. I'll be like, hey man, here's your one right here. And
mm-hmm.
one of my friends, Jesse, he's a short young man. He is 4'11", and he's a full-time firefighter and paramedic. I came up with one that he's used and it kills. I said, I don't mind being short. I'm a full-time firefighter, but whenever I get off the engine on a call with my turnout gear on, I look like a Make-A-Wish kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing just kills for him. I'm 5'10" and 300 pounds. Wouldn't work for me, but for him, it's an awesome bit.
Oh, yeah. It's funny you say that. I used to do a bit about being a firefighter. I used to say, I tried to be. I was on the volunteer fire department, and I got kicked off because we went to a house fire, and the kid thought the dog was still in the house, and she was like, "Mr. Fireman, can you go back in there and get Fluffy?" I said, "You mean Crispy? Because I'm not going back in there."
I like it.
But I said, no, the dog had got out the back, so he was okay. I wasn't a good volunteer firefighter, and another time a boat overturned and the dog was in the river, and I jumped in there to get the dog. It was a Rottweiler. He was just, swimming away trying to stay afloat, and I went to go grab him, and the dog bit the hell out of me. And I was like, I was on the radio, "Hey Chief, I don't think the dog can make it. He doesn't want to get out the water." I was like, "Look, that ended my volunteer firefighter days. I couldn't. I didn't cut the mustard, man."
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yes. And you made me think of that, bringing up the firefighter. But I love comedy, man. For real. Like I had, I took a little bit of a break at one point. You know how it is, man. Especially when you balance personal and family life, and when you're down or you're going through something, with family or someone's sick or something like that. I can't do comedy from a place of unhappiness. I can't do it, man. Some people can, but I can't do it.
I can't do it, but oddly enough, I write really well in those situations. But like I say, just doing it, I lose my motivation to get up and do it. But here's an example. When I was 10, at my dad's funeral, the man who helped give me life, gone, 10 years old. I looked at the funeral director right before it started and said, "Sir, what did one casket say to the other?" He said, "I don't know, son." What? Had this serious look on his face. I said, "Is that you coughing?" And just started cackling.
That's a good one, man.
I can find, for some reason, I get funny in a dark place. But
yeah, I can see it. But me, I just never could do it. I mean, I could never do it. But it's usually, you can usually find humor in most things.
Yeah.
And it's just being able to get up and perform under the circumstances. I lie to you, I tried it once, and it just didn't work out for me. I went on. First time ever, I went on stage and I drew a blank
Mm-hmm.
because I just wasn't there, man. I thought maybe I can just try to do some stand up to kind of come out of the funk I was in, but it didn't work. So that's when I really learned that I couldn't do it from a place of just being when I wasn't happy at that particular time.
I think the only time I've gotten on stage when I probably shouldn't have is around 5 years ago. I actually had 2 strokes, and it gave me a really, really bad stutter. I actually had some podcasts that I had scheduled to record Friday, but the stutter came back, so I had to cancel them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was right around the time when Drew Lynch was on America's Got Talent, the comedian with the stutter.
Uh-huh.
And a week after I got out of the hospital, I went to my home club in Augusta, Joe's Underground. And it's such a great place, man. They actually, when I asked him about sponsoring this podcast, he bought me everything I needed to do this podcast. No questions, no hesitations. Boom, here you go.
That's great, man.
But I went on stage a week after the strokes, and I had the stutter really strong. The crowd, looking back now, the crowd was great. I mean, they laughed. They probably shouldn't have, but they laughed. It was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I got up there, and 30 seconds later, I'm like, I'm out. I was done.
Oh yeah, I can. I used to stutter as a kid. I overcame a stutter.
Mm-hmm.
I stuttered all the way up.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, I stuttered all the way. Yeah, it is. I mean, I stuttered all the way up until I was about almost 17.
Mm-hmm.
And I broke it, at that point. And that's actually one of my. And I know it's not a funny thing or people, stuff. But see, by me having that speech impediment and overcoming it and stuff, and when I would talk about it, that was actually one of my earlier bits. And let me tell you why, before it sounds awful what I'm saying. This is one of the things that really, that was one of the things that kind of helped me get started in comedy because I was in the office one day. I was working at this place. I'm working in the office, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got to, a customer came in with a stutter. And a few of the guys were like, oh, it's frustrating talking to him. It takes forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wait a second, man, that's kind of rude. I said, I used to stutter, and I overcame it. It was like, seriously? I said, yeah. So I started talking about my experience with it, and I started imitating myself, like how I used to talk and what I used to do and stuff like that. And I turned around, all these guys on the floor in tears of my story. And I said, wait a minute, it really tickled them so much. It was like, are you serious? So that kind of showed me that I could take that pain and tragedy, I had to experience in my life, that I was able to turn that into humor. And also, not only was I able to inspire other people, other kids, to see that they could overcome it too. And I actually done a piece in the newspaper about it as well.
Sweet.
I talked about it. So I was able to inspire other kids. And I didn't take speech therapy. I didn't get electrocuted, none of that type of stuff. Like my dad would say, he never got struck by lightning, Now my dad, used to really frustrate him, man. And I tell you this, my dad used to say, he used to tell my mother, like, yeah, dog, I'm trying to talk to this kid. He said, tell my mother, like, honey, this comes from your side of the family. It has to. Because my dad was a teacher. He was like, look at him over there. I'm trying to ask him a question. And he's staring at me. He said, my dad. And my dad was a teacher. He wasn't being mean, but he was just frustrated. He said so much sometimes, But I overcame it, and I was just happy I was able to inspire other people, other kids and stuff. So
yeah,
it worked out for me.
I know a lot of my shows. I'll start them out, and I'll talk to them, and I'll explain that that it may happen, and I'll say I'm the best value in comedy potentially because I have to write 2 shows. I said I can either do a stutter show or a regular show, but if the stutter starts, this 10 minutes is going to turn into 2 hours for the same price. You're welcome.
Yeah, yep. Absolutely, man. Yeah, because my dad used to have a friend used to come by the house, and he used to stutter really, really bad, and he was a great singer, though, singer. And he would come to the house, and no, I'm not exaggerating. It would take him about 10, 15 minutes to ask, was my dad at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I used to answer, though, he'd just take me another 10 to 15 minutes to tell me he wasn't at home. I'm dead serious, man.
He'd be pulling in the driveway.
Oh, yeah. I just like, oh, here we go. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they was kind of. I went through a lot with that though, for real.
Yeah.
School plays give me the most lines on purpose. Like, really, that's what we're doing right now. That's what we're doing right now.
Nice.
And spelling bee, forget about it.
Oh man, you can hang up a spelling bee.
Forget about it, man.
Oh man.
It takes 2 hours to spell elephant.
And talk to text. Man, I blew up 3 phones trying to talk to text.
They say, Brad, it takes 2 hours to spell elephant.
Oh man, that's beautiful right there. Oh man. Well, Tim. We definitely gonna have to make this a regular thing, man. I'm having a ball. I'm having a good time with you.
All right, well, I appreciate it, buddy. Just, look, man, I think that to be able to be a person that is not making fun of anyone when you're the person that who's dealt with it, deals with it, or overcome it.
Exactly. You got to find funny in everything.
That's not coming from a mean place. That's coming from a place of healing, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
feeling it.
You got to find funny in everything. If you can't laugh at yourself, I mean, it's ridiculous. You got to have fun with it.
Yeah, you got to, man. You got to. And I try, I try to in every situation, especially with some of the. If you're a comic like me, I know you've had a bunch of jobs like I did, and
I've been a paramedic for 30 years, man.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Talk about funny in a dark place.
Humor, man. Trust me, I got some stories, buddy. I was a CO. I got some stories.
I understand.
Oh yeah.
I fully understand.
I got some stories, buddy. I remember that I worked at 2 different prisons, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first prison I worked at, the warden, great guy, man. He was from Texas. When I met him, the guy was about 6'3", pretty fit guy, white hair, kind of slicked back, kind of like with Steve Martin type of hair, looked like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Warden, I got to be honest with you, man. I said, you don't fit the stereotype. What I thought. He said, what do you mean? I said, I expect you to be a little short, heavy-set Southern guy with 3 goons following you around with shotguns. beating on inmates. He cracked up laughing.
The cool hand Luke, Warden. The cool hand Luke right there, baby. Oh yeah.
He said, "Oh no, man." He said, I'm sorry to disappoint you." Yeah.
Oh
but
man.
It was good. I met a lot of good people, a lot of guys in that field. I'm still pretty good friends with and stuff. So.
Yeah, man, I tell you, I worked in a jail for a little while, and hearing them doors locked behind me, knowing I could get out, I couldn't imagine going in there and knowing I couldn't get out. Nope.
Man.
And besides, I don't know if you've seen pictures or videos of me. All this would cause a riot in prison, so I got to stay on the straight and narrow, man. I mean to tell you, this right here, it'd cause a riot. People would be fighting over me, man. I can't have that on my conscience.
Yeah, man. But now it's definitely a different world. But hopefully, when this breaks, things kind of can get to where we can get out more. We need definitely to get together and do some comedy, man. I like to have you on my show.
Definitely, yeah, man. Tell me about your show. You was talking to me about it a while ago. Time Out with Timo.
Oh yeah, it's my show. Time Out with Timo. I host another show called One World on the network, but I've had that one had to get put on hold because of the COVID-19. But my Time Out with Timo, that was my original talk show that I was doing back in Illinois. So I revamped it and kind of restarted it here in Georgia. Mm-hmm. Going well, man. I've had some pretty good guests on so far. A few other comics, rare personalities. I had a doctor on yesterday, a minister from Detroit, and we talked about faith and family and the importance of staying grounded and everything. So available. You can check it out on my YouTube channel.
Very cool.
Just search comedian Tim Owens, and you can subscribe, and plus I'm a certified life coach as well.
Nice.
So I do life coaching work and help people out, especially some of us guys that as a guy, we're told to man up and take it on the chin and be a tough guy, but sometimes we need a little bit of a helping hand in areas of our life too. So I try to help some of the fellas out, especially guys that go through a bad divorce and lose everything, and sometimes it's hard to bounce back from that. So to have another guy that can kind of come there and say, you can give a call or set a consultation with, say, hey, look, man, it'll be all right. We can get through this thing. Or I've been there before, and sometimes that makes all the difference.
Hey, it does, man. Sometimes all you need is somebody to talk to.
Makes all the difference. So, man, between hosting my show and life coaching, it's good. I'm staying busy, and it's just good to be able to reach out to people. Help. Laughter is healing, brother. You know that.
Oh, definitely. Oh man, well we're gonna wrap this thing up. I'm definitely gonna have you back on here because I've had a great time. I have. You're welcome back
too, man.
anytime. You got this number. All you gotta do is call and say, "Yo, I'm ready to record." Chop chop.
I appreciate you, my friend. I really appreciate you, man, and thanks for being polite to me. Down here in Georgia, and give it a couple more months. I guess I give me a bit of an accent.
Hey, we'll get you there. We'll
yeah.
Get you
and plus, that's right, man. And we definitely gotta get together and throw something on the grill, man.
Oh, definitely, man. You know the name of the thing, smoked meat, baby.
Yeah. So, all right, Brad. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, man.
Anytime.